As with most events in history, the history of the Iditarod race is fascinating and filled with courage, but also some controversy. The following is a brief history of the Iditarod race and the 1925 Serum run. Iditarod means distant or distant place in the Athabascan native language. Portions of the Iditarod Trail were used by the native Inupiat and Athabascan peoples for hundreds of years. The trail reached its peak between the late 1880s and the mid-1920s as miners arrived to dig coal and later gold. It was primarily a mail and cargo route. In the winter of 1924, it was discovered that some citizens in Nome, Alaska, were sick with diphtheria, which could be deadly without an antitoxin. It was soon determined that an outbreak was inevitable. An emergency telegram was sent to major towns in Alaska requesting emergency supplies of antitoxin. Initially, no antitoxin could be found in Alaska until some was found forgotten in a hospital in Anchorage. A committee in Anchorage decided using the Alaska Railroad and dog mushers on the Iditarod Trail was the only viable way to get the antitoxin to Nome. Planes weren't usable in the winter, and boats could not get through the ice-blocked ports. The antitoxin was sent on the Alaska Railroad from Anchorage to Nenana. The first musher started on January 27, 1925, for Nome. Many brave mushers endured extreme sub-zero temperatures, blizzard conditions, and hurricane-force winds. Leonard Zapala and his 12-year-old lead dog Togo drove the Serum the furthest, 261 miles, and over the unstable Norton Sound. Gunnar Kazin and his lead dog Balto was also owned by Zapala, drove the Serum the last 55 miles into Nome through terrible conditions. The Serum arrived in Nome on February 2, 1925. Many lives were saved. All the mushers and dogs were hailed as heroes all over the country. However, there are some sources that say the native villages surrounding Nome had already experienced the outbreak, and the alarm was only sounded when the white population was affected. Adequate records of the native villages were not kept, so the actual toll is not known. Dog mushing declined with the advent of aviation and snowmobiles. In 1967, a committee created to look into Alaska history led by Dorothy Page decided to hold a race on part of the original trail. Joe Reddington Sr. and his wife Vi, local homesteaders in Wasilla, were the first supporters and helped clear the trail. The race was held as a memorial race for Leonard Zapala and Togo. The first official race occurred in 1973. During the first years of the race, regulations for the care of the dogs were not implemented and negligence did occur. Dogs have died running the race, sometimes at the hands of the owners. Critics cite forcing the dogs to compete as abusive, as the dogs cannot communicate when they are pushed past their limits. Today, dogs receive checkups before, during, and after the race. The official Iditarod website states, "The Iditarod takes great pride in its role of providing and promoting excellence in dog care before, during, and after the race. The dogs that run the Iditarod are some of the greatest athletes on the planet, and the continuum of canine care provided during the race and beyond is the top priority of everyone involved." Today, the Iditarod race starts the first weekend of March. It ceremonially starts on 4th Avenue in Anchorage. Then all the dogs are loaded up and taken to the small town of Willow, north of Anchorage, and the race begins. In total, the race is around 1,000 miles and ends in Nome.